peeps, welcome to my May sewing lookbook. I'm going to give you a quick show of everything that I made during the month of May. Now if you've seen my May fabric haul video, you know I was attempting an awful lot and I got most things finished except for the bloody quilt, but it's nearly there. And so yeah, but without further ado, I will get into the things that I've made. First up we have my Friends Quilt. 2 seconds. There is definitely progress being made on this thing. It's getting to the awkward stage where it's getting huge, so working on it is becoming more and more difficult. But I've only got one more row to quilt and then one more row to add and then quilt that one down. So I'm really pleased. There we go, there's a close-up for you. It's coming out exactly how I envisioned it. I'm really happy with it. I cannot wait to give this to her for her birthday. People keep joking that I should give it to her for her birthday next year, but no, I wanted to have it this year, so yes. I'm going to be taking this to the shop later this afternoon. I'm actually going to be working on this today and tomorrow until this is finished, because it will be finished this weekend. The custom orders I did, I had a Doctor Who cushion set which finally got finished, and I've got a little photo of the finished cushions here, but they've arrived in Australia. My cousin absolutely loves them, but she hasn't bought the fillers for them yet, so I don't have any photos of them in situ, but I will share that when I do. The linen curtain skirt, finished that, it looked amazing. Stupidly I forgot to take photos. And then also I actually got another commission last month for a sew over it tulip skirt in black crepe, the mini version, which again I've made, finished and didn't take photos of. Although my customer has promised to take pictures because she wanted it for her holiday, so she's promised to take photos of it and send them to me, so we shall see. But they both looked awesome, they both fitted, they were both very happy, they've both given me new commissions to make, so that's good. So I also had a few presents to finish this month, one of which was this dress for my niece. It's exactly the same as the one I made her last month, and it is the Eliza Lex bodice from By Hand London with a gathered skirt. She did want it in camo dinosaurs, but the shop had run out of that, so we got matte fabric instead, so she can educate people as to where Canada and Spain are, because apparently they're next to each other. Awesome. I have a dress in this fabric too, it's brilliant. I also had a necessary clutch wallet it was in like a green twill, and it had a pansy embroidered on it, and again I didn't take any photos of that because I'm super intelligent and clever like that, but that was a present for my neighbours because they capped it for me whilst I was away on holiday, which was lovely of them because it was for 3 weeks, so yes. Yeah, talking of bags, I've also made they've still got the shop tags on them. I brought them back to show you. So I've made this big slouchy hobo bag, and it's got an embroidered dragon and roses on it, and that's embroidery is from Urban Threads, which I will link in the description bar for you. This was supposed to be a smaller version of my embroidered bag for my mum for her birthday, but yeah, I kind of experimented and added a gusset to the bottom, and it ended up huge. So it's got an internal pocket there and lovely lining, and yeah, it's currently for sale in the shop, but I think my niece has got her eye on it, so we shall see how that goes. Then I made a mini necessary clutch wallet with a wrist strap on it, and this is for my sister-in-law, and it's got 8 credit card slots, 2 zip pouches, room for your cash, and then receipts in this one perhaps, and then there's a little pouch in the middle that will fit a lipstick in it as well. So I made that one, and then also I made a giant version, so that was the mini. I also made the classics, but a friend of mine wanted a present for her sister who carries around everything including the kitchen sink, so she wanted a bigger one, and it's ended up looking really cool. It's kind of like a sort of like a proper bag rather than a purse. The inside is exactly the same. There's room for there's 3 card slots each side, room for cash, etc, etc, and then the 2 large zip pouches as well. I think this is absolutely brilliant. I love how this has come out, and I think I'm going to make myself one. The only thing I think I'm going to change is I'm going to add some rivets to these little bits, because it does, when you have it on, let's see, when you have it on and you open it, it does kind of fall, and you can imagine everything would fall out. So I'm thinking if I put some little rivets in these bits, then it won't kind of do that. But yeah, I'm really happy with how this has turned out. And this is, as I say, a present for a friend's sister, so she's buying this when she can afford it, but it's just on display at the shop at the moment. I will be making some more of these, and I will be making one for myself, and they will be available in the shop, so I shall add the link down below. Okay, as I said, I have finished some pieces for my mum. I finished the Liberty Ianthe lawn dress for her, and also the Anna Palazzo turquoise print skirt. She will let me take photos of them, or she will let my dad take photos of them, but it's probably going to be when they're on holiday, so I haven't got any images of those to share with you, but they have been made. The things that didn't get made were the Belcara blouse, the crane dress, the feather print dress, and then she also bought some other fabric, which is a red colourway of the Palazzo, because she just loved the print of that so much. So we have a couple of different patterns that we're going to try next month, and fingers crossed they work out, and fingers crossed I will have photos to show you next month. Okay, so on to stuff I've made for me. As you can see, I am wearing my Alexander Henry Mirage dress with the naked ladies, and I particularly like this one. I think she has awesome resting bitch face, so she went front and centre, and it's exactly the same Anna bodice with a gathered skirt. You've seen this style on me before, and I absolutely love this. I've already worn it a couple of times, very happy with how it's turned out. It gets quite a few comments. People are kind of like, oh, it's a little bit risque, but I like that, so yeah, I'm happy with this one. So next up we have one of my UFOs, and it was the Vogue 8947 pattern that I used the bodice from. And then I added a waistband and a Kittenish Behaviour panel skirt, and it did have just sort of like a little bit of gems in the middle, and it wasn't quite enough, so I took it off and I did this lace applique in more gems, which I think you can see there, and I think it's worked. It's a lot, it is a big whole bunch of green, but I really like it. When I first put this on, I was like, oh, does that look really Becky Home-ecky, or does it look alright? And it's growing on me. I think it looks alright. If it doesn't, if I decide I don't like it, I can take it off and just leave it completely plain, but I don't know, we'll see. I'm not sure how often I'm going to wear this until it becomes Christmas again, but I really love this bodice, it's awesome. So yeah, very happy with this one. Next up I have the other UFO, so 2 seconds. So this was the other UFO that I wanted to get repaired because the zip had broken. So I've done that, and let's give you a twirl. This is very short, this dress. Yeah, I love the bodice detail. It's pleated around the neckline, and the same on the back. Yeah, so I really like this dress, and it's been sitting forlornly in my wardrobe because the zip was broken, so I'm really pleased that I fixed that because I can now wear it. I think I want to make another version of this with a slightly longer skirt so that I feel comfortable wearing it during the day, because to me this is definitely an evening dress. But yeah, so next up I have the combination of the By Hand London Anna bodice and the Megan Nielsen Tanner culottes, and I absolutely love how this turned out, although it wasn't without its problems. basically looks like all the other by Hand London Anna Kittenish Behaviour circle skirts that I've made, but it is culottes. Didn't prove that, did I? Look. Let's see. Hand hemming those was fun. Yeah, I really like this, how it's turned out, because I love all my short versions of my Anna dresses, but I don't wear them in the summer because you can't wear tights, and I just feel like the smallest gust of wind and you're showing your knickers to everybody. But these are awesome, and as I say, they weren't without their problems. I cut the straight size 8 because that was the waist measurement I needed, and I just forged ahead because I was like, oh, it doesn't need to fit my hips, it just needs to fit my waist, not a problem. Went to put it on, and oh my goodness, the crotch depth was about 4 inches too small, so I could get it on, but then it was like, oh, I can't stand up straight. So took it apart. I'd bias bound all the inner seams because usually I'd French seam them, but obviously once it gets to the place where the zip needs to go in, you can't have a French seam there, so yeah, I bias bound them. So I took all that off, redid the crotch depth, and then decided just to do just to pink that seam because yeah, being lazy, having already done it once, didn't want to do it again. And the actual pattern calls for a side zipper because the front and back have like a pleat detail here at this part, so that it kind of looks more like a skirt. And the way I got around that is that I just put the pleat detail in, pressed it and sewed it in place, and then just added the seam allowance so that that's where I put my zipper in. So yeah, I'm really happy with how this has worked out. There will definitely be more of these in my future, and probably in a slightly drapier fabric than this crisp cotton. But yeah, I had this stuff in my stash for so long that I'm glad that it's finally been used. And the last thing that I made is the Sewaholic Robson trench coat with the Patterns by Gertie skirt on it, and it's almost finished. I'm just waiting on buttons, so let me show you. So as I say, this coat is almost finished. The only thing that's left to do is buttonholes and buttons, then the belt loops and an actual belt. I ran out of fabric because I only had 3 meters of this, and I knew it was going to be pushing it to try and get this coat out of that. So a lot of the flaps and stuff, rather than the same fabric, they've got lining underneath them. So to try and save fabric, but yeah, still didn't quite have enough. So I haven't added pockets, so I have cut the pockets out of this fabric, so I'm going to try and get the belt loops out of those. And then the belt's just going to have to be different colour turquoise fabric, which I have ordered. It's waiting to go. I just wanted to see how the coat progressed before I started cutting that out, just in case it didn't work. There's been an awful lot of fudging with this coat. Let me give you a twirl. I absolutely love how this has turned out. I think my next, so this is definitely a wearable muslin, and it will be wearable, and I did take great care with the insides, which I will show you now. It's all done exactly according to the pattern, apart from the lining obviously. And so Hong Kong finish on everything, hand stitching, lots of sewing things down, because I wanted to go through the whole process of making this to see how it was done, and then also having done that, I wanted to have something at the end of it that was wearable. So yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has come out. Like I say, just the buttons to go. I had got some buttons, but they were the wrong turquoise, so I'm now going to go for hot pink buttons, I think. It's a nice subtle coat, not leery at all. And I will show you once it is properly finished with buttons and belt loops and all that. But yeah, really pleased with how that came out, and we'll definitely make another one. And it's not the last thing I've got to show you. I still have a skirt, so 2 secs. So the final thing that I've got to show you is the By Hand London Flora skirt that I made in the Orion print silk cotton blend that I got from Spoonflower. So let's give you a twirl. pleased with this. I love how it's come out. I did initially intend to make the one with the same length hem the whole way around, but I'd forgotten that I'd not traced that off. Went and traced the back portion of, the front portion of it, thinking that'll marry up with the back portion, and it didn't, and I had already put everything away, so I was like, oh, you know what, I'll do another one with the proper hem another time. And yeah, I really like this. I'm very pleased with it. I really hope you enjoyed watching my May lookbook. If you have, please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already, please subscribe, and I shall see you again very soon. Bye! Like I say, I always have this issue. She does. Really? Oh, glasses. Oops. Don't want to break them either. It looked amazing. There we go. Makes jokes about me crashing around, bloody hell. I will just... and ooh, fall off the stool again. Let's look back. Oh god, itchy nose. I may. Why does everyone want to walk around while I'm filming? How dare these other people live in this house and move around in it? Gosh. Many more dresses. So yeah, I definitely need a month of... Right, stop recording. Don't need to see me getting undressed. No!